All right, here we go. Overdrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. Beautiful Monday here in Toronto. What a weekend in the sports world. Man, did we need that. We needed something to pop over the weekend, and we got some things popping over the weekend. I love it because last week was slow. Let's be honest, right? We were kind of waiting.
That was
for
a
the
grind.
games.
Let's be honest.
Bit of a grind at times. Had a COVID vibe to it.
Hey, and if things don't pick up here, we could be in for another quick grind rather quickly, if you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I know you're talking about in the NBA. You're not suggesting a short series in the NHL, I hope. Is that what you're suggesting, a quick series?
Well, you don't think that if Florida, who kind of skirted by, and I just love the win-o-meter, by the way. Or what is it called? Deserve to
win-o-meter.
Yeah,
I
what
love
the
that
hell
too.
is that?
It's the best in the Cup final.
Right? Yeah.
Cup final's the best. Yeah,
what is that? Is that analytically driven?
Yeah, it's chances, high danger chances, and there's obviously a formula to it. And
so we can use one for this show if like supposed to be a good show meter, but ones that were just garbage, we could say, hey, we had all the things there.
That's right.
The people still tuned in. The underlying numbers were still good.
Right.
You know what? Like I can't get a read. I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, a win is a win. Like Florida didn't play great. Bob stole the game, but they're up one cup, and they'll have a better game tonight. But I think Edmonton needs to have a better game too. I think they need to have more execution in their game. You can create a lot of chances, but they missed two wide open nets. RNH fired one over. Hyman put one over the net. You got to bear down on those chances because this guy's dialed in. He's a hell of a goaltender. So
yeah, he is. And Bob was outstanding. He really was incredible. And Edmonton had some really good chances. Their best players had really good chances. I thought McDavid came out flying. Draisaitl was great. Hyman was good. Bouchard, Ekholm. When those five were on the ice and they loaded up, the ice was tilted. Edmonton had a ton of chances. I'm sure they felt good about, the pace of play, how they were controlling the game. But I do think it's been a bit overstated the rest of the game, as if Edmonton dominated the rest of the game. I didn't see it that way at all. When McDavid wasn't on the ice, Bouchard wasn't on the ice, I thought it was a pretty evenly played game. And I like this Chris Knoblauch. I'm sure you guys saw the post game where someone tried to lead the witness. He's like, well, obviously you dominated. And he's like, I don't see it that way. You're overstating it. We didn't dominate. Basically, we lost. And yes, we like a lot of things we did. We're confident. But he basically was like, pump the brakes here on utter domination.
Yeah.
Because, again, the whole process, and we're joking about the win-o-meter and all that kind of stuff, that works October, November, December to project where it's going.
Yes,
right?
You don't have time for that now. And a 2-week stretch in November is saying if you keep trending this way, maybe the puck luck will turn.
Exactly.
There's not enough time in a 7-game series to say, deserve to win-o-meter. It's like Florida didn't have their A game and they picked up 2 points. And I know we discussed a possible hashtag it's only game one but I'll get into it right now with you guys. It's only one game but. What Sergei Bobrovsky did there in game one is he stole one. And what he also did is narrowed the margins for Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner, if they went into this series saying he's probably going to have one game where it's not that good and you just wash it and move on, that's out the window. That's out the window if Bobrovsky's going to play
got to steal one too. He's got to steal one too. Bobrovsky.
I agree, Noodles. But if that one-off game from Skinner, if they planned on that or they thought it was going to happen, everybody kind of thinks it might happen. That is completely out the window. Because if it does, they're really screwed. And when you're playing against a guy that's playing like that, that's some of the best goaltending. Jamie, you would know better than me. But that's some of the best goaltending that can possibly be played in the NHL. That's just as good as it gets. It looked like no matter what, they could have 10 breakaways. They could have played till 3 in the morning. They were not scoring on that guy. So that performance really puts the onus on Stuart Skinner, where it's like McDavid could do his thing. They can create chances. They got to get some goals, obviously. But it's so defeating if they play well and go down there and can't score, and it goes the other way and some kind of marginal goals go in. It's like you look at that and you're like, we're probably screwed here.
Yeah,
and that's what's going to happen.
I think what it is Bobrovsky's not going to steal 2 in this series. Like, that's his one. So Skinner has to steal one, too. Because that's coming into this series. I don't know. I don't have a formula of how Edmonton's going to win 4, but I did have a formula of how they could win 3.
Jamie, you don't think that guy can do that again, what he did in Game 1?
I think there's adjustments. You can elevate the puck. You can get a moving 5-hole. I think Edmonton created some chances. I think he can play great. I just don't think he steals another one. That's my point. That was because the team in front of him is not going to give up 18 high danger chances. That's my point. That was Bobrovsky's game, and really, Florida, their big boys didn't really show up. Barkov had a nice game. He was really good two-way. But I'm saying, from an absolute goaltender steal, I don't think Florida will allow that. That's my point. Not that Bobrovsky's not capable of it. I think Florida's going to play better. They're going to play better tonight.
It's a very good point.
That's it's not to do, and I'm not slighting on Bob. I'm saying he's not going to have to face 33 shots, and it's 33-18, and the chances are 18-6 or whatever it was, and he's got to stand on his head. I think Florida's going to limit and adjust the neutral zone, try and slow them down, be more physical. Ekblad's going to play better. I didn't like his game. I thought there was some guys that – so I don't think he has to steal one. I still think Skinner has to steal one. I think because Florida's going to have a response. They're a good team, and they didn't play their best. That was my point,
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's the concern. It's only Game 1, but Skinner may have a blow-up game still to come, which if that happens, you're down 2-0, right? That's the concern. Is I don't see Bob.
I just said that.
No, I understand that. No, you said it doesn't matter. It's semantics here. But the point being is I don't think Bob's going to have a blow-up game. He could. He's human. Vegas got him last year. He could.
Yeah,
he absolutely could. But, Skinner, his history would suggest Dallas, notwithstanding, because he was great in that series for the most part. Although I think Game 2 he was a bit flaky, if I can recall. Game 2 or Game 3, I think he gave up 5.
The fourth goal against. Remember with the hat-trick goal for Robertson was a bad goal.
Right, it was a bad goal, yes. Which is more bad goal as opposed to a blow-up. I think that's probably more reasonable to expect. He's a good goalie that's found a rhythm here. I don't like blow-up is, man, he gives up 3 goals on 5 shots and gets pulled. And you're like, we're screwed here. I don't think that's going to happen. But bad goal at bad time is probably going to happen. And, I think when you look at where the Oilers and the Panthers are hoping to elevate their game tonight, with the Oilers, it's probably their depth. And obviously, you got to execute. Of course you do. Like McDavid was flying. It's irrelevant he didn't score. Hyman had some chances. Irrelevant he didn't score.
Power play, all of that.
Exactly. Power play, I think, went 0 for 3. Those guys are going to break through. They're too good. It's going to happen. I think Edmonton's going to win tonight. I think Draisaitl's going to get on the board. They're just – I think they come out flying. I think they break through. But it's Edmonton's depth players where they're probably looking at that saying, we need more. Right, we need Nurse to get going. It was ugly the other night. Cody Cece's coming out. First time a healthy scratch. Desharnais going in. Perry might come out. They're moving pieces around. Where if you're in Florida, you're like, I need Tkachuk to be a lot better. Ekblad to be a lot better. Reinhart maybe 5-on-5. Yet I got a lot of time for that happening. Right, I don't know if Desharnais is going to get the job done. I'm pretty confident Ekblad will play better. You know what I'm saying? Right. You're asking best players to improve compared to depth players improve. I'm putting my money on the best players doing that. And if that happens, that is trouble for Edmonton. Because if their best players balance what Edmonton's best players are bringing, then you're in trouble. But I thought it was going long this series. Someone had to lose Game 1. I thought Edmonton played well. The moment didn't look too big for them. But they got to have it tonight. You got to win tonight. You can't expect to beat Florida 4 out of 5 games if you lose tonight.
That's why I said the other day, remember we had that, Game 1 and Johnny had the numbers and all that. I think Game 2 is the pivotal game because somebody was going to win Game 1 no matter what. That was it. And it's the response in Game 2. If Florida lost that game, now they're chasing it in their own building and all of that. Didn't play well. Edmonton loses. They've still got an opportunity to get home ice back. And they still have an opportunity to have some momentum going home if they win this game tonight. But it's a giant if because of what O was talking about. Bobrovsky steals that game. He was brilliant. If he doesn't take his foot off the gas and you get a response from the group in front of him, then Edmonton's in one. And they are in one. Florida's a hell of a team, and so is Edmonton, but somebody's going to lose this series, right?
Yeah. And Florida's...
the one thing that confuses me, guys, and Noodles, you touched on it too. It's like the idea of when you're up against a top-end goaltender to say, well, I got to elevate the puck and I got to shoot it high. Like, I've played against Patrick Waugh and Mike Richter and Dominic Hasek for a long time, Marty Brodeur. You just got to make a good shot to beat him. I don't care if it's 5-hole, blocker side, above the pad, underneath the bar. It's just got to be a good shot. You can't, things happen offensively for an offensively minded player where you're in front of the net and you get that opportunity. It's just, you got a split second to think, and you just got to make a good shot to beat him. Yes, this guy does cover the bottom of the net, but to consciously think when you're crossing the blue line, if I get a chance, it's got to be elevated. I don't remember ever thinking like that. I played in a 7-game series against Dominic Hasek where he was playing pretty well. I don't ever, I did beat him up top glove one time, but I didn't go down there saying, this one can't be low. This won't go in low. I don't think shooters think like that. I don't think any part of the flow, obviously, if there's opportunities, you just got to bear down. And I just think it's a great shot. To think, it's just got to get up, I don't think that's just good enough. You got to have a hell of a shot, and you got to bear down in front of the net. Some of those opportunities, you got to say, I'm ripping this through the net. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, and you get the one thing, if I was doing a pre-scout on Bobrovsky right now heading into the game, is you got to keep him in his net. He's extremely aggressive. There was a couple of plays where he's 1.5 feet outside his crease because he's allowed that. He trusts what's going on.
Kind of Jonathan Quick-like.
Exactly. And the difference is he's got that, not the difference, the same, is he's got that explosive side to side. If you look at the numbers, and I know we balk at them, but I don't think I think he's been beat on the ice once this playoff. He covers the ice well. My point being is if, you're right, it's instinct. It's putting it through the net. It's doing all the things of what goal scorers do. But if you have an opportunity, it has to be instinct that, hey, I've got to get it above 12 inches.
And if you know what, Jamie, if I got a 2-on-1 and I look out of the corner of my eye right before I decide to make the kill shot if I'm passing or shooting, and I find that he's aggressive, maybe a pump fake or something like that off the rush would work. Just like Jonathan Quick, if it comes back to the point and he charges out there, look for tips at the side of the net, anything garbage at the side of the net. Maybe it's not right on net or directly at him. If you sense that he's coming out and being ultra aggressive, you saw teams like that beat Jonathan Quick like that. It was bypass the goaltender, just go to the side of the net and let somebody bang it in.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you're describing there too is on the power plays where you have an opportunity to think a little more, right? And I'll give you an example. Draisaitl side door, McDavid brings it to the middle of the ice. If Draisaitl's got a one-timer where he owns that shot and he owns that opportunity, get it up.
Yeah.
Which he does anyway. I mean, he's going to do that on Bob. He's going to do that on any goalie he faces. But, the stats speak for themselves, like you said, Noodles. I mean, the guy, makes you beat him certain ways. So you better figure it out.
And you know what? If all of a sudden tonight they start shooting high and he's staying on his feet, holding his feet and knocking him out with the blocker and catching him, making it look easy, I mean, then he's in their head. But you've got to find I would argue that probably the most simple way is, KISS, keep it simple, stupid, is honestly low to high, crash the net so that he can't see the puck, keep him in his net, jam away. Hyman on that power play early in the second period, he gets it on the forehand, takes it to the backhand, elevates it. It goes over the net. RNH has the one-timer, or, a forehand crossbody one-timer, puts it over the net. It's not like they're not trying. It's not like they're not trying to do it. But I come back to what O said. They might have played till 3 o'clock in the morning the other night. That he was just saying,
he wasn't.
Not tonight.
And I thought Florida got more and more comfortable as well as the game went on. I think that is another part of it that's concerning. It's only game one, but Florida's been a pace car the whole playoffs. They've played with the lead in the series, in games, basically the whole playoffs, or it feels like it anyway. And they're very comfortable in that situation. And I thought as the third went on, you could tell Florida was very comfortable that the game was not going to be lost. And that is a special type of psyche and mentality to have when you're in a cup final at home. You understand you've been caved in at times during the game. Yeah, you have a 2-0 lead, and you're not losing. You know it. And Maurice knew it. Every player on that bench knew it. Bob knew it. That speaks to what Edmonton's up against, where if Florida comes out and gets on the board early tonight, Florida's very comfortable in that situation, and they're happy to win 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. And I could see that being the case again tonight. I mean, I think it's imperative Edmonton gets on the board quick tonight. I think they need to get out, get on the board, get their feet moving, beat Bob for a psychological warfare type of element, and just push and push and push, because Panthers will be better. I don't think there's any disputing that. And, there were some moments where it got a bit tough, got a bit greasy, which is what you expect. I thought Kane took a chunk of Bennett, took a chunk of Tkachuk. He's got to keep doing that. He's going to play tonight. He obviously didn't take the morning skate.
I didn't like his game the other night. I'll be honest.
I'm not saying I love this game with the puck, or I didn't notice him, Noodles.
He's not
he's hurt.
doing Kane.
He's hurt.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Yeah.
He's hurt, but he can't skate, and he looks late on plays like that. Okay, the second goal. Like, here's an example. Sam Bennett is a difference maker, and Evander Kane has to be the answer for that. If you're looking at similar players, right? Bennett chip and chase, takes a hit, gets the puck out to the middle.
One-man forecheck.
One-man forecheck, but he does it, right? And Kane's late on that play. He's watching. Nurse doesn't,
Cece's
get a
just
stick.
awful on that.
Dude, that can't happen in that league.
That's
One
awful.
guy go in there.
But I mean, I'm fine with Cece. I'm fine with Cece taking the body. What you have McLeod and Nurse and Kane watching, all just standing there. Nurse is late to get his stick down. Can't allow that puck through.
But
I didn't like
if
the
I'm
first
one of the
goal.
other
That
guys,
was
I'm looking at
Cece's fault.
Cece.
Yeah.
If I'm Cece's teammate, I'm looking at him saying, I'm depending on you to knock that guy on his ass. Either that or get the puck. It can't be both. He can't beat you and get the puck and get it out to the front of the net. If I was
That's
coming
my
back,
issue with it, too.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't have a problem with Cece on the second goal whatsoever. That's a one-on-one, and you're not going to score from behind the net.
He lost the one-on-one, Noodles.
No, he took the body. That's it. Now the support guy
Puck's in the
can't
slot.
let that pass go through.
I agree. There were other breakdowns. I don't dispute that.
The first goal, that is not Cece's fault on that goal whatsoever. He takes the body right there. What is the rest of the support guys doing? You got to take that pass away. Nurse not stick on the ice. Kane late. What's McLeod
lots
doing?
Lots of problems. Lots of issues.
So I had a problem with Cece on the first goal because if it's a 3-on-2, Barkov's not going to score on his backhand. He's not going to score on his backhand from over on the wall. Watch him cheat over on this play. Okay, that's Barkov. All you can do is leave him there. He's not going to score. And if you know that Hyman's late on that play, where's the most dangerous spot on the ice? The middle. Hold your position. And I know it's a fast game. It's easy for us to sit here on a
But that's why he's out tonight.
He wasn't good enough, and that pairing wasn't good enough. But I look at it. Coming back to Kane. Kane was physical, but Kane looks like he's a step behind out there, and
Perry
they
was
need
same
him.
thing.
They need him. They need guys like that. You talk about depth and difference makers. Sam Bennett was a difference maker. Evander Kane was not, in a positive way. Yes, he took a chunk of Bennett. I like that. But Bennett took a chunk of McDavid, too, right?
I think that's what you're getting at, Noodles. On the Edmonton side, they just need the guys to go out there and make more plays on the positive end for the Oilers tonight.
Exactly.
That's what it's going to come down to. Forget about Bob, because he's going to do his thing. More difference makers and more individual plays that lead to success for the team. It might be just as simple as getting it out, getting it in, blocking a shot, getting it in the forecheck, just like Bennett did. More positive plays, and they'll get the outcome that they want. That's what they've got to be looking at.
And you know what? 2 errors. Those are just errors bearing down, and they're not at, one's at the beginning of the game, one's in the second period, first half of the second period. That's the difference in the game. That's the difference between raising a Stanley Cup and not, is critical errors, where it may be just one guy. It might be a goalie just gives up a bad goal, but it's layers of working together. And to me, those are 2 critical errors, Cece, Nurse, and supporting cast. Hyman was late on that back check. He's got to get to him, or at least Cece's got to identify that that's a 3-on-2 clear cut and not go over. Like, to me, those are mistakes that end up in the back of the net. They didn't recover.
Everything is so costly now.
That's
like
what it
if
is.
You've got one guy that has a period and a half where his head's up his ass, it's too costly, man. Like, we talk about
100%.
being engaged and everyone. Like, if one guy just loses coverage and you're sleeping a little bit, it's like, you might have just cost us a hockey game, man. Like, it can't every single shift.
Yeah. It's even more exposed now. If you're
Edmonton.
Is.
Yes.
Right? Like, your back's up against the wall. You're down 1-0 the stats. We know what they are. the home team wins game 1, they win like 84% of the series or whatever.
87 or whatever it is. But
yeah, like you're deep,
you're
in the hole
tonight.
here. It's not the end of the world. Like I think Edmonton will win tonight. I think this is going to go 6 or 7. I think Edmonton's built for this. I think there's positives to take out of the other night, but it's a fresh start. It's completely irrelevant what happened in game 1. And Edmonton's making moves, which Knobloch has consistently done. I give him credit. Like CC, it's pretty wild. He has played every single game, and they're in game 2 of the Cup final. He's coming out.
Yeah.
Like he is not going to help.
As the coach
us.
said, I can't afford to try to watch that again.
I agree, and I appreciate that type of attitude. Yet you're bringing in someone that obviously going into game 1 you didn't love either. Like you're putting someone else into the lineup that needs to make an impact, and it has worked for Knobloch and the Oilers in the past, making constant moves. I mean, within reason. We know their best players are going to play, but they're up against it tonight, and I'm looking forward to the game. It's going to be a fun game tonight. We mentioned in the NBA that series looks like it's completely over.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like I watched it the other
Celtics are too good, man. Like every sport's got certain things that you have to have in order to win. In the NBA, you have to defend, and you got to have ball movement and guys who can shoot if they're open. Like it seems easy, but it's not. And that's the Celtics. I mean, they defend rigorously. They move the ball like it's the Globetrotters out there, and they hit shots.
They also have more than one guy. Somebody said it. Somebody said it. Jason Kidd, I think, said we need more from Kyrie, and then somebody else on top of that. If we think that Luka's going to go out there and beat the Celtics team, we're just it's not happening.
He had a triple-double last night, and it was never close. Like the game never felt like. I know it was tight at the half. It always felt like Boston was going to win that. And Luka's banged up. You see him with the Ben Roethlisberger heat pads. Like that guy was basically a mummy last night preparing for that game. Like the knees were wrapped. He had the heat pad on the chest.
He had it all going, man.
He had everything cooking. Look at him there. That's Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Basically.
Thing is, too, though, like the unfortunate part is, like we always talk about like stuff behind the scenes, like that's in public. Like that's letting everybody know. Like he's got and I don't suggest he's doing that, but you know what I mean. Like that's
we get swept.
Kyle Lowry taking shots at 1:00 in the morning. In front of the media.
That. Like it's totally unnecessary.
that didn't need to be right out there at center court.
I saw that and I thought of that. I'm like, I don't think he's a guy that garners attention. He's not like LeBron. LeBron just needs attention all the time. Like, to me, I'm watching that. It's like letting everybody know if we lose, my hands up. Hey, I'm banged up. Take a look at the heat pads everywhere. I'm banged up. Like, whereas other guys, they've got the heat pads on the bus. They got them behind the scenes in the dressing room. They don't walk out of the court.
How about under the tracksuit? Exactly. This guy's like, no, wrap
Speaking of
over.
banged up, why did the trainer put the Band-Aid on McDavid's beard?
Well, he got stitches,
just put
right?
some of that polysporin or something. Like the Band-Aid
on the outside
was
of the
4
beard.
inches off of his chin on his beard. You didn't need the beard or the Band-Aid on the beard.
The beard Band-Aid? I don't know. I was laughing because I thought to myself, too, like, I don't know what type of cut it was, but it looked like afterwards in his media that there was a couple stitches. So he probably got a couple stitches, right? But
just put some of that polysporin or whatever they put on it. Yeah. The Band-Aid was floating out.
It was moving.
Face.
Yeah. It was moving up his face like a mole that was moving or something. Like, you're right. Like, that guy just said, here, tap that on and leave it and see what happens. Like, it was really unnecessary.
Yeah, it just didn't work. The Band-Aid didn't work on the beard.
Well, not when you have a giant beard, you're not getting to the skin anyway.
No.
Like, I don't know what you could do. Like, you're right. They have that, it's not the polysporin, it's the glue. That glue's a cut. Like, they might do it, like, within the game type of thing, and then in between periods, stitch them up. But
How about anything other than that square Band-Aid on his big puffy beard?
It's almost like he how we dig around looking for a Band-Aid and you got one left in the first aid kit and it's too big. Like, that's what it was. They put this giant Band-Aid on it. It was funny. It was floating around his face, too.
That was a completely useless Band-Aid. Like, I'm surprised it didn't get ripped off in a scrum, too. Like, some guy just said, I'm taking that. Like, let me do you a favor. We're in the Cup final here. Get
Chris
that thing out
Kreider,
of here.
his Band-Aid.
Yeah.
grab it and throw it over the
You know what'd be great
front.
is if Kikuchi showed up in Milwaukee in like a neck brace tonight, or full bandages after he ran into Soderstrom yesterday, which was one of the goofier plays and blooper reels I've seen in a long time. I have no idea what he was thinking here in the top of the 10th.
I would have punched him right in the head if I was the guy from the A's.
Like, what was
really?
he
You gotta.
thinking?
You run sideways.
I was watching that. Why did he run straight at him?
Go into the dugout.
Yes.
You got an issue.
Go right or left. Go right or left. And you run straight out, and it looks like he did it on purpose. And there's a bunch of guys that would lose their mind and absolutely sucker him, and I think it would have been warranted.
He's lucky that wasn't like John Kruk or George Brett. George Brett would have put him in honestly a figure 4 right on the field and lost his mind on Kikuchi.
What did they? Was the ruling like that? Should have been an out. Yeah.
It has. It's mandatory. You have the guy. You talk about an infraction. Kikuchi's not even in the game. Like the guy's just sitting there. I don't know what he's doing, drinking coffee.
But why did he run that way? I don't know. Because I was watching that. I'm like, what is he doing here?
He completely froze, and then he was like, "This is coming out." It was like a fan. You know when you don't have like depth perception and you're like, oh, that's gone, and you're like, oh no, it's not, it's a pop-up. It was almost as if he did that, where he felt like it was going to fall on his head for some reason, and it just wasn't even close, and he buried him, man. He buried him, and he was so embarrassed. I actually appreciate they sent him out to speak with the media afterwards.
Yeah,
because you had to after a play like that.
Well, their spirits are a little high. I was worried when they were down 3-2. I'm like, oh my God, like this, they're gonna leave one. And Oakland's bad. Yeah,
they're bad. You know what's crazy? Like, there's no one there. I'm sure if you guys were watching that in the top of the 10th, Austin Adams was on the mound and he was getting torched. The Jays obviously put up a lot of runs on him. When you're at a major league park, this probably applies to any stadium, and there's no one there. Voices travel, and there were I don't know if there were. There was a guy in the stands yelling at Austin Adams like bad, like
really? Like
shut up, Adam.
The Tampa Bay guy.
It was like that. Like, remember he used to go after
everyone, dude.
Well, everybody. Remember, Eric Hinsky was his number one primary target. He hated Hinsky. And he used to torch Hinsky when he was a Jay, and then he went down there and he was a Tampa Bay Ray for years playing third base. But the audio was vicious, and it's not funny, and I know you guys would hate this as former players, but there's something I find humorous about it because there's no one there. There's like 3,000 people. And Adams was complaining about Kikuchi and all that, and this guy's like, shut up, Adams. Like, get back on the mound. You stink. And you could hear the whole thing.
I just don't understand the mentality of that guy. Like, can you imagine if you just became friendly with a neighbor and it's like, hey, I go to a bunch of baseball games. Do you want to come along? And you just sit beside a neighbor with like a solid gig and a job and is an upstanding citizen, and he's that guy.
He's heckle guy.
Dude, you would never speak to the guy again.
Ever again.
If I went with my neighbor, Carl, who's the greatest guy in the world, like, guy helps me with he's just the best neighbor possible in the world. And if I went to a Jays game and if he was heckle guy, I say I have to go to the bathroom, and I never go back in that ballpark, and I never speak to Carl.
You have to move.
And you put your house for sale.
Absolutely.
Dude, I would. I would too.
I couldn't live beside Heckle Guy.
No.
It's so awkward.
And he could return and be awesome neighbor Carl. But if I just couldn't deal with the fact that he did that to me and was Heckle Guy.
I know. Heckle Guy is so awkward.
Why do you need to do that?
I don't know, man. It's weird.
It must be something from like childhood.
It is. There's something dark in your past.
Yes.
Or something happened to you.
Where you didn't get an autograph, or it's just you become Heckle Guy.
Heckle Guy. Because there's different variations of Heckle Guy. There's, like Heckle Guy during the anthem, which is so stupid.
Dude,
like
there's shoot the puck guy. There's shoot the puck
guy.
I had a guy the other night. Remember, I sat in the crowd in Game 6 with my buddy. Two nice guys sitting beside me. Had a little conversation with them. They had big Oiler fans and oil and gas guys. So, the seats were expensive, and you could see that they were, had done well in their life. And they were Heckle Guy. It was Go Oilers Goal. and then they said F Trudeau. Like they were yelling that
what would
at
that
a
have to
hockey
do?
game.
Exactly. Like that is even dumber.
It was
I'm
the
ninja
stupidest
dust.
thing. I'm sorry, but they're talking to me, very nice people. But I was like, and it wasn't like they did it once. It was every time.
Yeah.
To the point where it was like awkward.
Guys,
like
we're at the
even
game.
people were
We're not at a
turning around going,
speech. Yeah, it's not. There's no election happening.
Send
here.
us some notes, people. If there's a fan,
disappointing.
Whatever, blank
guy.
Get into it. Let us know what kind of guys are out there.
Okay, different sporting event guys in particular. All right, game 2 tonight. We're teeing that up. Jay's in Milwaukee. Big weekend at the Memorial. Scheffler is just routine. The guy won again. But Adam Hadwin had himself a great weekend. Hadwin will join us later in the hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. We'll have our best bets on game 2 tonight. Later this afternoon, Adam Hadwin had himself a weekend. My partner, he'll join us in about 10 minutes. The schedule for the Four Nations Cup was revealed. We knew when it was going to take place, but it'll be in Montreal, and then we'll end in Boston, 2 great hockey markets. That'll be a lot of fun, and I guess
you excited about that?
Like I am, because I'll take anything I can get, and I'll certainly take it over the All-Star game. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not watching the All-Star game. Where if you give me Canada versus the U.S. and the best players are playing, I'm in. It's not quite to the same level as the Olympics or what a Canada Cup used to be. But I'm okay with it. It's worth a shot. We've been so deprived of international hockey for so long.
I just think it's weird that like Draisaitl and Pasternak don't have a place to play.
I just want to see Canada-U.S.
Yeah,
honestly,
you're right.
Noodles. That I would have preferred. Right. I would have taken that. Give me like a best 2 out of 3 Canada versus USA. Perfect, done. As long as Canada's in it, I'm cool with it. Russia's not in it, as we know. Like you said, Pasta, Draisaitl. There will be other great players that aren't going to be in it. But
that's why I don't understand, Hayes. Like, why not? Like, was it the Canada Cup back in September before the season, as opposed to the middle of the season?
Yeah, it was. I mean, this is something they control, right? It's in their buildings. The NHL is going to get the revenue for it. I don't know. I mean, they're trying something different.
It's not perfect. They're trying, but you're right. Like we'll complain about it because it's like, okay, arguably, 2 of the top 5 players in the league, arguably Pasternak and Draisaitl just don't have
won't
a team.
be there either.
You're right. Okay, so Kucherov might win the Hart this year.
Yeah,
and not available. Like it just, I get it. You're right. Canada, U.S.
But
it's going to be greedy with that.
I think.
There's no doubt about that.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
And the question I think is, will it be intense? Will it be an all-star game with national team colors?
I don't think so. I
hope
so.
not.
I think those guys put that jersey on and they're like, this is not goof around time, all-star time. It's time to play.
I hope you're right. Because if that's the case, then it will be a lot of fun. And I think in the next 10 to 14 days, each nation has to announce their first 6 players. I'm not sure the reasoning behind that, other than, I guess, to keep the hype train going. But that'll be interesting. I mean, we know like McDavid's going to be there. McKinnon's going to be a part of that. I think Sid's got to be. Right? Like if you think or know Sid's on the team, you're not going to make him wait. You're going to put him in the top 6. There won't be a goalie announced. Unless you have to, I don't see why they would.
That's scary.
But there won't be a goalie announced. I guarantee you that.
You don't think so? Yeah, I mean,
who's getting announced this far out? I mean,
if Stuart Skinner wins the Stanley Cup, would you look at him and go, "That's a 24-year-old, number one"?
He's one
goalie?
of the 3 for sure, Noodles, for sure. But do I guarantee you he'll be starting game 1? No. I mean, it could be Binnington at that point. It could be Aiden Hill. But I think, McDavid, McKinnon, Sid, McCarr, they'll be a part of it. And then see what happens after that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. You're right. You're talking me into it. I just was thinking about it this morning. It's just like, what was that? What was that in 2016 or
the
whatever?
World Cup?
Yeah, where they had that made-up team, the Team Europe or something.
Team Europe, and Europe made the final, which was brutal.
That was no good either. So, whatever.
That was a complete, just debacle. Like as far as I was concerned, I remember experiencing that, like we all did. I'm like, this is stupid. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's manufactured. Yes, this is manufactured, but there's 4 countries. Great players. It's in Montreal and Boston. it's in replacement of the All-Star game, which is way more stupid.
Yeah.
So we'll take it. All right, Scottie Scheffler, in case you haven't been paying attention, won again over the weekend. And Adam Hadwin finished third on his own. He made $1.4 million American, punched a ticket to the Open Championship as well. And he's rolling into the U.S. Open down at Pinehurst, and he will join us to look back on the weekend, look ahead to this week, and heading over to the Open. There's a lot to get into. Adam Hadwin, our good buddy, friend of the show, my partner, will join us next. All right, Ryan Rishaug coming up. Chris Johnston from the Cup Final, Game 2, Panthers-Oilers tonight. Jays in Milwaukee tonight, Milwaukee. I love it. And they used to play the Brewers all the time back in the day. And Brewers are good. They're playing well. And the Jays coming off a 2-1 weekend against the Athletics. They're game under 500. They're kind of in the hunt right now for that third wild card spot.
Hey, that's all you can ask, man.
Yeah, I guess just keep battling. There's been some positives. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's been great. That big hit in the top of the 10th last night. He had multiple big hits in the last week.
Gausman had a good performance. Solid.
Yeah, Gausman on Saturday. Yep, unreal. And then, Biggio gets designated for assignment. Manoah, he's going to have UCL surgery. It sounds like it's going to be Tommy John in the end. That takes him out this year and probably next, which is just horrible.
Wild.
Horrible. And sucks, man. It sucks for the guy, but that's his reality right now. So you got the Jays in action. You got Game 2 of the Cup Final tonight and the U.S. Open. It's the U.S. Open week down at Pinehurst. We're already seeing the videos of guys throwing balls into the rough and then disappearing. Everyone loves that, right? And then
Adam Hadwin doesn't do that.
I guarantee you Hadwin wouldn't do that.
Ian Poulter used to be the king of it. Look at this. Throw it in the rough. This is crazy.
Yeah, come on. We get it. It's the U.S. Open. It's going to be tough. Will it be tougher than Muirfield Village? I don't know, man. That was playing tough all weekend. Here he is. He finished third on his own over the weekend. Had himself a great weekend. Here's Adam Hadwin live from the U.S. Open. How you doing, Adam?
I'm great, guys. How are you?
We're doing well. Congrats on an awesome weekend.
Thank you.
I guess answer that for us. Do you think Pinehurst will play tougher than Muirfield Village or what?
I mean, we'll find out. Muirfield's a beast. Of course, seemingly always plays hard for us. Come Saturday, Sunday, everything dries out. Seems like there's always a 10, 15 mile an hour breeze, and they challenge us tee to green every single hole you've got to be on. And what's it like to watch the carnage that took place that backside and everybody just making bogeys all over the place?
I love it. Personally, I mean, I hate to say that, Adam, but it's the truth, man, because sometimes, like watching you guys play.
You guys destroy every course.
Exactly. You destroy golf courses.
I get it. I've asked a few people that same question. I mean, I tell you, it's no fun doing it. So at least somebody's getting some enjoyment out of watching it. But, it's just hard, like. You can't get away with anything. Even good shots are sometimes going unrewarded. Bad shots just get punished even more. At that point, it becomes almost more of a mental test than anything. Like, who can outlast the other person and kind of grind through it? And thankfully, I did a pretty good job of that week or last week. And I guess I built enough of a cushion, I guess, playing well in the front nine to maybe leak a little oil coming down the stretch.
So, Adam, you mentioned kind of regrouping after mistakes out there. You walked 18 holes with Scottie Scheffler. Is that a part of what else he's doing besides the great golf shots, the driving of the golf ball, is just kind of recovering from mental mistakes and just grinding it out? Like, other than the greatness, is there a grind there also that he just kind of sticks with it?
Oh, 100%. I got done with that round and just thought, like, there's no question about it that he is the best player in the world right now. He goes out and continually shows it round after round. Some of the shots that he hit were super impressive. But like you said, the way that he can come back from hitting a bad tee shot on 9, maybe getting a bad break, and really sort of letting everybody back in the golf tournament at that point, to just birdieing 10 and 12, which were two of the hardest golf holes on that golf course that day. So it's very impressive. It was great to get a round of golf with him and see him up close. It also gave me a little bit of confidence that I can kind of play with him and hang with him, and at least for a little bit anyways. But yeah, what he's doing this year and right now is, there's been a few guys that have gone on runs like this. Jason Day did it. Spieth has done it. But really what he's doing is sort of harking back to Tiger's days or VJ. He's putting together that kind of a year.
With Adam Hadwin. So you, I'm sure, had a very gratifying weekend, as I'm going to answer that for you. But you finished third on your own. You make $1.4 million American. You I believe, leapfrog Corey into chasing the Olympics, the Paris Olympics, where now it's, as of today, would be you and Nick, and I believe the team has to be announced after this week at the U.S. Open. And furthermore, you officially qualify for the Open Championship. So anything I missed? Anything else happened to you over the weekend that was great, or what?
I did have a good milkshake at the end of the round, too. So that was a nice little cherry on top as well. It just, to kind of grind through the day, obviously it was a bit of a disappointing finish. I had a chance to be there on 18 and have a chance to win. I just I'll be honest with you, I had a Band-Aid over my golf game all day on Sunday, and I was just, I did my best to get it around, and I was really proud of the way that I kind of fought through the way that I was feeling. I kept trying to hit golf shots, and they just weren't quite coming off like they were the previous 3 days, and I fought through it. My short game held me in there for a very, very long time. And then, that Band-Aid came off and kind of bled a little oil coming in. But it's an unbelievable consolation. Obviously, an incredible field, a very tough golf course. Hung in there for 72 holes. Finished the third, got back into the Open, which I haven't been to in a couple years. Obviously, the money's great. The FedEx points were huge, big leap up there. And then, good position for a couple extras and a couple bonuses. Olympics, moves me up for President's Cup, all those sorts of things. So it was a good week to play well.
So you get down to Pinehurst, and like those greens are treacherous with all the humps, and you got to be dialed in. And the U.S. Open is always regarded as the best test of golf for you guys. But when you're playing a course like that, are they going to be finding out who the best precision iron player that week is? Because the way those greens are structured, Adam, it just seems like that's the guy that's going to win this week, whoever can dial in their mid to short irons with those greens.
Yeah, I would think so. I haven't seen the golf course yet, I'll be honest. Just practiced a little bit on site today, but that's usually what U.S. Opens are about, right? Ball striking, tee to green, mentally wearing you out, challenging you with every shot. Some of this is all dictated on weather and conditions. They can only do so much about wind and rain and all that sorts of stuff. But, they always do a great job of one, letting the golf course kind of speak for itself, and number two, making it challenging, making par be something special. And so, coming off of last week, it's nice to play those weeks. It's nice to know that if you put together a solid round, you can move up a leaderboard, or, sometimes you don't have to be perfect and you can still compete and still have a good finish.
With Adam Hadwin, who finished third at the Memorial this past weekend, and is down at the U.S. Open this week. Go ahead, Noodles.
Adam, I wanted you to settle an argument that the guys had. We were at the 13th hole, and you were walking up, and you waved up to the booth. Now, I don't know if you can remember this, but either one of them claimed that you were waving at them.
Just be honest.
Between O-Dog and between Hayes.
I said,
and they both
Adam,
said, hold
good
on,
luck
they both said on air, that's my guy, we're best buddies, and all
your
of that.
partner, your pro and partner. Come
you
on.
might have just been waving to our producer. You might have been waving at a bug in front of your eyes.
There's only one thing left. Adam, who were you kind of, just be honest, who was it to?
I definitely remember that moment, and I think that I saw somebody I knew behind your studio there. I think no, I'm just kidding. No, that was a group wave. That was a group wave.
Come on, dude. We don't play that game.
We'll take that.
I'll play Switzerland here. I'll play Switzerland in the middle.
That's a smart play. I don't blame you on that one. No, that was awesome, and it was great tracking you all weekend. We can't wait to see you, this week at the Open, and then of course in a few weeks when you're overseas at the Open Championship. So congrats on it. Keep up the good play. Good luck this week, and thank you for doing this.
Of course. Thank you guys for the time. I appreciate it.
You got it. Adam Hadwin, who won a lot of money, FedEx Cup, world rankings, jumps into the Olympic Games. Him and Nick Taylor, as of today, is going to the Open Championship, right? Chasing the President's Cup, like he said. That boosts his chances there. It was just an awesome week. Such a tough course. And Scheffler, Morikawa, just like at Augusta, man. That was the final pair at Augusta. It was the final pair yesterday. And, Morikawa he's won 2 majors. He's won a bunch of tournaments. And he looks at Scheffler. He's like, I can't even beat this guy. It's incredible. Scheffler's like 3-1 on FanDuel. Last time I checked.
Crazy.
To win the Open. It's absurd. Like, that's Tiger in the early 2000s. That's how good
somebody
this guy
listed
is.
a bunch of golfers worldwide, and they don't altogether have as many as this guy does in the last calendar year or whatever.
Yeah.
He's
look
disgusting.
at the elevated events he's won.
Dude, elevated event, just give him the check and don't even play the tournament.
Augusta, he's won the Arnie Palmer, he won the Memorial, he won the RBC Heritage, he won the Players.
Had he not gone to the Clink that morning,
he
you never
probably
know
won
if
the
he
PGA. He probably
Yeah.
would have. Yeah, it's crazy how good he is right now. All right, Ryan Rishaug live from the Cup final coming up in the next hour. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.